Alright, so I just made up a couple LS motor mounts to get this thing in the truck. I did some 1 3/4 120 wall tubing, bushings, sleeves, 5/8 bolt. Then if you notice that I have the bolts coming in from opposite directions, this will be the passenger side motor mount. And I did that so the bolt will come in from the front. Same with this side, driver's side motor mount, the bolt will come in from the front. I also only put a web gusset on the top side of the motor mounts because when these are bolted onto the motor and all these are welded to the frame, I like to be able to lift the motor directly up to get it off. If it was gusseted top and bottom, you'd have to basically pull these 4 bolts on each motor mount to get the motor out. And then when you go to put the motor in, you'd have to put these on there and then start these 4 bolts. It's much easier to line up this bolt with just these bolts being loose from the mount to the block. So let's get it on the truck now. Alright, so I got the motor mocked up into place, got the motor mounts tacked into place. Now what I did is I put a level from side to side on the frame, used this digital Wixie gauge to zero it, and then put it right here on the motor, nice flat location. Tacked one motor mount, and then lowered the other side down because it was high on the passenger side, and leveled it until it read 0. So I got both sides mocked up into place, got the motor mounts tacked to the frame plates that I gusseted. Then I'll be doing a plating gusset to this motor mount to the side of the frame to really tie it in so it's not just a single tube that could shear off. Alright, so here's the motor mounts. I ran a single 1 3/4 tube notched into my bushing. Now I will be gusseting this to this cross member and to the side of the frame because that single tube, that's a lot of force. 6-liter 4L80 with a iron MP205 is pretty heavy. The truck will be seeing some abuse, so I want to make sure that nothing changes and moves right there. So now we're gonna bend up the tranny cross member, get it mocked up so then we can get the transfer case back on to make sure everything clears the driveline. So let's do that. Alright, here's the tranny mount I made. Got the bolt to that transfer case adapter. Then I boxed it in. There is the bottom bolt, so I did have to notch this to get it to clear that bottom bolt so I could get in there to tighten it. This will be bolted to the adapter outside of the truck, so it will be much easier to do that. And then this will have the rubber bushing just like the motor mounts, so it will have some vibration compared to stock, but it will be solid mounted basically to where nothing should be flexing, and if there's a 1/4 inch of clearance, it should stay at a 1/4 inch of clearance even when off-roading. Okay, as you can see, I did cut a hole in the firewall. This firewall had some existing holes because it was a Prerunner. I will be removing this firewall right here all the way around. This front cab mount will be removed because the cab is going to be solid mounted to the roll cage. And then let's come on the inside here. The floorboard has been started to remove. Once I remove the firewall, the floor will be removed all the way to this rocker panel, all the way across. So then I will actually make the transmission hump center floorboard removable, so I can install that heavy transfer case and this transmission actually from above in the future. So that will make my life a little easier to tie in these tranny cooler lines, all that stuff. Alright, so I started on the tranny cross member, got these mounts cut out, did have a hole here so we can run brake lines and everything down the frame. This is all 3/16 plate, has that bushing transmission mount right there. And then I just put them on both sides and we have it tacked in place. Now we are gonna fit the transfer case up here to make sure the driveline, everything should clear. And then we will pull the tranny cross member back out, get it tacked a little better, tack these vertical pieces in, and then pull it all out. Once the driveline's in, everything's good, then we could weld everything.